Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Go Low with Jeff Stanislow, your host. Today, episode brought to you by Back Nine Golf in Carrollwood. We have a special guest that we're going to talk about golf and fitness, and it's brought to you by Golfers Unite. Miss Carrie O'Rourke is joining us, and she is the owner of Core Fitness. Thanks for joining us today, Carrie.
Thank you.
Well, listen, Carrie, I'm getting a little bit older and my golf swing is slowing down and I'm getting a little bit more sore as I go head to the course. And so I think that's a pretty common problem. And I'm glad that we got a chance to talk with you today because you have the solution, right?
I do. And while you say it's a common problem, it's not an absolute issue that you have to deal with. You don't have to accept losing distance or getting sore, getting aches and pains, or handicap going down as you get older. There are solutions to it. And one of them being looking at your body and your fitness, specifically starting with flexibility so you can maintain your game as you get older.
And that's interesting. I mean, I think, as a golfer, as an avid golfer, I play 2-3 times a week. And, I'm kind of getting into this routine now where it's like I got to pop a couple of Advils to get through it, and maybe even one after I'm done with the round, and it seems to be going fine. Carrie, in your experience, we're talking with Carrie O'Rourke. She is the owner of Core Golf Fitness, and she is an expert on, helping people with their flexibility and swing speeds. And taking care of their body as they're getting a little bit older. So my problem, Carrie, is my hips tend to hurt a little bit, and actually my hands tend to hurt a little bit more than they ever did before. What is kind of the most common problem that you run into with golfers that you're helping and working with?
Typically, what you mentioned, an overall feeling of lack of flexibility that leads to aches and pains on the golf course. But if we want to go a little bit more specific, I hear my hips don't move like they used to, or my shoulder doesn't get far enough in my backswing so that I'm limited in my backswing. And what I hear a lot is the swing that I see on video no longer matches the swing in my head. And that's a devastating moment for golfers when they realize that things have been changing and it's not necessarily their swing mechanics.
I know, Carrie, when I'm thinking mentally, I'm still thinking that, I'm hitting the ball 260 down the middle, and it's just not there anymore. It's 230, and my swing speed is decreasing. And I think that's probably one of the main common things with a lot of people is that they feel like they're hitting the ball as hard as they used to hit it. But, my swing speed was 110. Now it's like 102. Talk to us a little bit about like some of the things that you do to help people maintain their swing speeds.
Sure. Well, I want to touch on something you said, that mentally you think this is what's happening. And I want to challenge you to take a different perspective, that your mental game and your brain is not really your golf problem. And there is a step to being a good golfer that many golfers tend to miss until it becomes an issue. And that is checking your body to see that it's still physically capable of being able to do the swing that you used to be able to do, especially as we get older. And I'm not talking about, significant medical issues, but just general as we get older. If we're not actively working on our flexibility and rotation, because golf puts our bodies in positions that are not normal, then the ability to rotate is going to slowly fade away. And that also is going to go hand in hand with speed, because speed is related to our fast twitch muscle fibers. And if you're not practicing to keep those active and fired, then your body is going to slow down. But again, it's not inevitable. There are easy ways to work against that, to keep your swing speed up, to reduce those aches and pains, and to keep your drives far off the tee.
Wonderful. We're talking with Carrie O'Rourke from Core Golf Fitness. She is the owner. This is Jeff Stanislow, and you're listening to Let's Go Low, brought to you by Golfers Unite and Back Nine Carrollwood. Back Nine Carrollwood is opening up now, and you guys got to check that out. It's a really cool sim. Back Nine Carrollwood, you got to search it up on Google, and you can find them. Now, Carrie, you have been working really hard to create programs to help golfers maintain their swing speed, maintain their flexibility. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your program? And I know you kind of have an introductory type program where you get to dive in and maybe get to talk with the golfer a little bit more, or do an analysis. And then you have a full blown like program that you work with them, or they get access to over a period of time to help them, get their swing speeds back up, get their flexibility back up, get their confidence back up in the game.
Sure. So I coach older golfers ages 45 to 83 on how to gain flexibility and speed so you can play with less pain, more power, and play like you're in the prime of your life, regardless of age. And my program is geared towards a competitive golfer who has always wanted to win, whether it is an actual tournament or just to win skins off your friends, that takes your game seriously and wants to keep your peak performance as you get older so you can continue to play with your kids and grandchildren. And specifically, even if you're already working out at the gym, many golfers are focused on the weightlifting and hours of cardio, which are going to help you stay healthy and look good in the mirror, but may not necessarily help your golf game. And that's the piece that I fill, is looking at your golf specific flexibility, your mobility, your balance and weight shift, your speed and endurance, and rotational power. And that's what's going to move the needle and take you from being generally fit to golf fit.
Yes. Carrie, Rourke from Core Golf Fitness. Carrie, taking a step back, tell us how this journey started for you. What certifications, education experience, golfer yourself, things like that brought you to bring Core Golf Fitness to market.
I'm a TPI certified golf fitness professional, which is Titleist Performance Institute. That is the performance division of Titleist, if you're not familiar with it. And when I had my children at home when they were younger, my son was about 13 years old and he was at a lesson with a golf pro. And at the time I was a general personal trainer, not focused on golf. And the coach was trying to help him create some rotation to swing. And he looked at me and he said, "Hey mom, like, I heard you're a personal trainer. You can help him fix his rotation, can't you?" And in that moment, I thought, I have no idea how to help my kid get better at golf, despite the fact that I had been a personal trainer working with clients for years and years. The golf aspect of it eluded me. So that's when I decided to become Titleist Performance Institute certified so that I could help my son play better golf, because we would do anything to help our kids, right? And then as time went on, I noticed that the clients that I was getting were all in this specific niche of typically a bit older, 40s, 50s, 60s, because they were dealing with the flexibility and it was starting to affect their game negatively. And they also were starting to play more golf as their kids were leaving and retiring. So this is becoming a more important aspect of their lives, to play good golf, but also to play pain-free and to have some longevity on the course.
Certainly. This is Carrie O'Rourke. She is the owner of Core Golf Fitness. Carrie, if someone wanted to reach out to you or find out more information about the programs that you have, how would they do that?
The best place to start is my website, coregolffitness.com, and that's spelled COR. And on the website, there's information about, like you mentioned, my full 90-day program that can help you transform your game in as quick as 90 days. But there's also a golf flexibility guide that you can download right there and check it out.
Wonderful. And that's Core, COR, golffitness.com, correct?
Correct.
Fantastic. Carrie, this is Jeff Stanislow here from Golfers Unite, bringing you the Let's Go Low show, also sponsored by Back Nine Golf and Back Nine Carrollwood. Carrie, when it comes down to the stories, the proof is in the pudding, right? Well, you got a couple case studies, or someone that you can talk to, not by names, but just a general type, but one or two that you could share with us.
Sure, I'll share with you my golfer Andy, a 4-handicap golfer in his, I think, late 50s, living the good life with country club memberships in both Ohio and North Carolina. And he worked out regularly, but despite that, he still played with a subconscious fear of re-injuring himself. So once we focused on that golf-specific flexibility, his game stabilized, his speed went up, He played better, was having a lot more fun on the golf course. And then one of my favorite golfers, Frank, he is 67, lives in Massachusetts, and he'd been a single handicap player his whole life. But when he came to me, he said, Carrie, I'm losing tournaments. I should be winning because after I make the turn, like the 14th, 15th, 16th hole, I'm kind of losing it. So once I assessed his body, I found that after years of sitting at work and playing hockey, his hips were extra tight. His back didn't rotate that well. So it wasn't that he was losing his focus at the end of the round. His body just was tired. So we spent a couple of months working on flexibility, rotation, and stamina. And listen to this, Jeff. That year, he went out and played 138 competitive rounds and won 26 of them at age 67, playing the best golf of his life. His handicap went from a 7 to a 4, and he shot a 72 and 73, the two best competitive rounds of his life. And he shared with me that golf fitness allowed him to check the box that he'd never checked before, which gave him a fighting chance against players who may be more skilled than him because his body didn't give out at the end of the round.
Wow, that's amazing. Carrie O'Rourke, Core Golf Fitness, the owner. That is an amazing story. And 138 rounds of golf. That's a lot of golf. So
well, he's a very understanding wife.
yes. I was like, I thought I did 100 rounds last year, and I thought that was a lot. So, I appreciate your time, and maybe could you offer our listeners, if someone's going out to the golf course, and I think a lot of people just trunk slam and show up on the first tee and maybe don't practice, they don't stretch. Can you maybe talk to them about how important that is, the pre-round routine, and then maybe kind of describe one or two little stretches that they should do no matter what, just to kind of give our listeners a little tidbit of what you do?
Sure. And trunk slamming is going to happen every once in a while. Hopefully it's not your habit. But when your body is prepared to play on those days when you're showing up at the last minute, you're not going to have as much as a backward slide on those first few holes. But by preparing, not just hitting some balls on the range, but getting your body moving, that 15 minutes before you play should be activating the flexibility you already have. You're not suddenly going to be able to touch your toes in the 10 minutes before the round. So contrary to popular belief, you don't necessarily want to stand and stretch and hold, but look at more active movements that are in that moment generating the blood flow and creating the flexibility that's already in your body, waking it up essentially. So when you hit that first ball, it doesn't take you 3 to 4 holes to warm up. You've got full speed and full rotation right from the beginning. So you do want to focus on active stretching versus static stretching. And that would be my quickest tip to give you, that may be a shift from what you're already doing.
What would be, Carrie, what would be an example of some active stretching that someone would do? They're not going to go run around the golf course type thing, but if they're there a little early and hit, before they hit some balls, what is a good example of an active stretch?
Sure. So let's say shoulders. Most of us try that shoulder stretch where you cross your arm in front of the other and kind of pull it in towards your body. You see golfers doing that. Instead, take it to some active arm circles. It's such a simple difference in what you're doing, but then that's, again, activating the blood flow and flexibility that's already there. So you can press your two hands together and make circles in this sense versus reaching across and holding that pose.
That's really good. I never really think about it. I'm kind of more, I try to do the quick static type of stretches, where you get into a position and maybe you bend over and you're touching yourself, but it might be more easy to just kind of do hip rotations up in the air and moving them around versus trying to get it into a position and hold it. That's a really interesting tip, and I think our audience will really appreciate that. We're talking with Carrie O'Rourke, Core Golf Fitness. It's COR, golffitness.com. She is the owner, sharing some great information to help your game. Carrie, before we go, is there any other things, words of wisdom that you have for our listeners today?
Well, these things are not only going to help your golf game, but life in general, so that you can get down on the floor with your grandchildren and stand back up again. But at the end of the day, golf is a big part of our lives that creates a joy that non-golfers will never understand. And so being able to maintain your longevity on the golf course is significantly sometimes more important than winning at a specific age. But we all want to be the grandparents and the great grandparents that are out there striping it down the fairway with our grandchildren, enjoying these moments together as family and with our friends and making business deals on the golf course. So it's not necessarily just about hitting a little ball down the fairway, but a lifestyle that we all love.
100%, Carrie. I can't tell you that's one of my goals. I enjoy playing with my sons. Carrie O'Rourke, thank you very much for coming in today. We appreciate it very much. And this is Jeff Stanislow, and you've listened to Let's Go Low here on AM 820. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Jeff Stanislow, and it's time to go low right here on AM 820, where Golfers Unite is bringing great golf content to you every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on the Big 8 in Tampa. Today, our program is brought to you by Back Nine Golf, and Back Nine is opening up in Carrollwood. You should check it out 1st of May. Check out for grand opening specials, discounts, and what have you. Search up Back Nine Carrollwood and you'll find it. Today we have a special guest. Doug Russell and I have got to know each other over the last few months talking about golf. And as an entrepreneur myself, Doug is an entrepreneur too. And I think you're really going to like today's show because we're going to kind of get in underneath the hood of the golf industry, building golf brands, partnerships, and processes that a lot of people don't want to do. Everybody thinks golf is this glamorous place. I'm going to start a brand. I'm going to make millions selling to all the golfers, and that's just not true. Doug Russell, founder of Infinity Plus Consulting. Thanks for joining us here today, Doug.
Thank you, Jeff. Great to be with you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, so Doug, you've been in the business for a while. You're an entrepreneurial. And you've worked in some golf stuff. And before we kind of dive in, tell us a little bit about your background and, why you kind of selected golf to emphasize some of your skill sets.
Well, the long story short, really, Jeff, is that, getting involved in the golf world was a no-brainer. I'm a golfer myself, always been entrepreneurial. And the golf industry, as you know, has been booming post-COVID. It's always been a big industry, but it's getting bigger and bigger than ever. And in working with entrepreneurs, we've seen the opportunity to get proprietary type products and services into the market. But as you said, there's a path that needs to be taken. Just because you have something great or unique doesn't mean you're going to be a success. It takes time, it takes relationships, and it takes strategy. So we've been successful in getting some really unique products in front of the right people. And in doing that, we've helped companies grow. And that's how I've always been as an entrepreneur, is trying to grow myself and helping others grow as well.
That's a good premise for a mission statement for any company is, help your clients or brands grow and grow yourself. You're listening to Doug Russell, and Doug is the founder of Infinity Plus. Doug, it helps businesses grow, does a lot in the golf world. Doug, maybe for our listeners that might be thinking about a golf brand or bringing a golf brand to market, we all see the ones that, hey, I got a logo idea. I'm going to get a company. I'm going to build a website. I'm going to do social media. They get out there and they sell it to their friends and family. And then next thing you know, they don't have any customers and they're trying to get distribution. They're trying to get partners and a lot of them fail. Tell us some of the biggest pitfalls or, you talk strategy when building out a golf brand. What are your top recommendations for someone that might be considering building a golf brand?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to manage expectations. As you were saying, you can't just expect to, enter the market and become a success overnight. There's so many different channels now that you can bring your product to market, but at the end of the day, you really need something unique, you need something proprietary, and you need something that consumers are going to want. There's a lot of competition, but if you have something proprietary, and when I say proprietary, meaning something unique and different that you should really get protected legally, because a lot of people have ideas, thoughts, and inventions, but they don't know what to do with them. So in starting from a step-by-step process is to get your idea on paper, get it legally protected, see where the opportunities are, and then come to a company like mine, and there are many others, of course, like that understand the market and can get you to the right people. Yeah, I use the analogy almost like my company in a much smaller scale is like a mini Shark Tank. We bring the funding, the prototyping, the legal expertise, the manufacturing, the distribution, all those pieces become a huge factor in anyone's success. People just think, oh, I'm going to go into, the PJ Superstore or one of the major golf retailers. Well, that's probably not the right step. The right step is to gain traction. And it's happened to me on a number of occasions with certain products where the retailers say, get some traction, then come to us. And now, as I said, since there are so many other ways to sell product via TikTok, e-commerce, Amazon, sometimes you don't have to go to brick and mortar any longer. But the idea is expectations have to be managed, and it really is crawl, walk, run.
Yeah, you're right. This is Doug Russell, the founder of Infinity Plus Consulting, helps startups on consumer products and has a focus in golf. Some very good words of advice there, Doug. It takes time. And I think, a lot of people think that these channels are out there and available and that they're just going to go attack, they're going to be the next good brand, overnight sensations. They are in a very competitive marketplace and you have to cut through. Those are the 1%, or I'm going to be a golf influencer on TikTok and I'm going to be the next Grant Horvath. And, that's the 1%. And they put in 10 plus years already in these ecosystems to build that brand. And just now starting to see the tremendous success. This is Jeff Stanislow. You're listening to another episode of Let's Go Low here, brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. This episode and the rest of them will be on our website at golfersunite.com. And our sponsor this week is Back Nine Golf in Carrollwood, brand new golf simulator company opening up in Carrollwood. It's a franchise, one of the fastest growing golf simulator franchises in the U.S. Just search up Back Nine Carrollwood and check it out. So, Doug, shifting gears into just the brand and the brand strategy, what do you recommend to the people that they start putting on paper? What do you ask them? Is it where are you at? What differentiates you? Where do you want to be? Who is your target audience? I think a lot of people really don't dial in their customer. Any more thoughts for our listeners, just kind of on that?
Yeah, well, I think identifying the customer is the most important thing, and especially with golf, despite its growth and expansive growth over the last several years, is still kind of a niche industry, but it is backed by a lot of money. And as any major industry, it's dominated by some of the major companies, whether their equipment or their apparel or their now technology. The technology has become a big player in the industry. If you go to the PGA show, you'll see that the show is now dominated by simulators, by technology companies, by people that are, getting away from, just the regular teaching. But again, the idea of where the market is it still has to be unique, and it still has to be, you can't be a commodity or me too. If you think you have this greatest new golf shirt or golf shoes, that's not going to work. It's more about what's different and what's going to separate you from the others in the industry.
Yeah, a lot of it is collaborations too. You see a lot of these larger brands working with some of these smaller emerging brands that may have a unique design and, doing collaborations. A good example of that is recently Bogey Brothers Golf just did a collaboration with Hooters and brought a Hooters line of golf shirts and merchandise to market. And Bogey Brothers is probably it's a decent brand name. They have great quality, but it's probably not as widely recognized. So they partnered up with Hooters, who gave them huge marketing prowess in regards to it. Doug Russell, founder of Infinity Plus Consulting, does a lot of startup and consumer products, and with an emphasis in golf. So, Doug, take us behind the scenes on one of your projects, and we had some conversations offline about T-Tender, and tell us a little bit about what what the premise of that is and how you help this organization grow.
Yeah, it's a great story and a great question, Jeff. T-Tender is a golfing teeing device that enables golfers to tee up the golf ball without bending down. It really started 40 years ago when one of my partner's grandfathers developed this idea because their group was getting older and they were having trouble teeing the golf ball up. They couldn't last around. Their backs were bothering them. They're having health issues. So our device, which is 40 years in the making, which is it's basically a labor of love, is now on the market, and we've streamlined it because when we first got the prototype, it must have weighed 20 pounds. Now it probably weighs 1.5 pounds, and it enables golfers to tee up the golf ball without bending down. It's a very unique item. It's patented, back to my point about being legally protected. And it works for both senior golfers or people that are rehabbing from injuries, but it's also great, and we've gotten a great push in the adaptive golf world, in the handicap golf world. We're at many outings, we're at many events, and we have many influencers who are handicap golfers of all ages and adaptive golfers that are using our device. It's also great for teaching pros. So rather than doing a teaching lesson where the pro has to, let's say, bend down 100 times during a driving lesson, now just uses our device to tee up the golf ball and place it in the ground with very little effort. And that has become a lifesaver and a game changer for many golfers, not just seniors, but of all stages. And it's become a great item. We started out doing it through Amazon, and we're now, after about 1.5 years post-launch, we'll be in some of the major golf retailers in the Southeast. So it's shown the evolution of how the product comes to market, how it catches fire, and people can use it. It's in pro shops. It's in many other venues over the past couple of years.
That's wonderful. We're talking with Doug Russell, the founder of Infinity Plus. This is Jeff Stanislow. You're listening to the Let's Go Low show here on the Big 8 AM 820, Saturday mornings from 8 to 9 a.m., brought to you by Golfers Unite and Back Nine Golf. Doug, you said the idea, the concept was 40 years old in regards to it. That just basically says, like, okay, you have an idea and a concept, and maybe it wasn't time to bring it to market, or it was time to kind of flush things out. Sometimes this doesn't happen immediately. You said you had a prototype that was 20 pounds, and now it's a pound and a half. You had a different market segment that you were going after, and now your market segment has grown from handicap golfers, accessibility challenge golfers, to now, even like you mentioned, the sim golfers who they play 36 holes of golf, and they can grab their golf ball and use the T-Tender to set their golf ball down and save their backs. I love the progress and what have you. Can you tell someone, if they're interested in that product, where they need to go to check it out?
Yeah, very easily. Thank you. It's teetendergolf.com. So it's TEETENDER golf.com. And we can expedite shipment on the items very quickly to whomever is interested. There's a great video on the site which will show you how it works, how to tee it up. Very simple. And one point that I just want to make, that the idea was brought up many years ago it went on the shelf for a while when the golf foursome that came up with it had some issues from the health perspective, but we brought it to life, and that's why I said before it's a a labor of love. But yeah, t10golf.com is the website. Lots of information on there. We have some pro golfers who are supporting it and endorsing it, both on the senior tour level. One of our golfers is Jason Karen, who many of the golfers will know, who's a senior tour pro and doing extremely well on the tour. We have it in his pro shop. And we have many other golfers and adaptive golfers behind us right now. And we're looking to continue to get more and more people that cannot play golf, or thought they couldn't play using our device. It's also being used. We're also working with the military, as you know, Jeff, in getting the T-Tender in front of some of the militaries who have had, of course, unfortunate accidents and incidents, and they may be either missing a limb or be somewhat handicapped. This will allow them to play golf, and that's the best thing about it, is that it's enabling people to play golf that may have thought they couldn't have prior to this.
That's wonderful. This is Doug Russell, the founder of Infinity Plus Consulting, startup consumer product company, strategist, consultant, helping you guys who are thinking about maybe getting in the golf industry or have a product or a brand idea. Definitely recommend reaching out to Doug. And Doug, I'd love to have you come back, because I know you have some more brands, including John Daly Cigars and Military Connects, that you guys want to talk about. Maybe we'll set up a call with some of those brand leaders and yourself and talk about their stories. But shortly, in the interim, how can someone reach out to you if they got a golf product or a brand that's thinking about bringing to market?
Well, they can message us on t10golf.com. I can also my website is a little bit longer and a little harder to decipher, but it's infinityplusconsulting.com, and we'd be happy to confidentially look at anyone's idea and thought, provide some consult on how to bring a product to market. It's very unique way we handle our business, but it's very much proprietary, and we like to keep it very simple. We do not want to just basically, we're happy to help.
Yeah, fantastic. Doug Russell, Infinity Plus Consulting. This is another episode of Let's Go Low. Thank you guys for joining, and more to come. Hello, everybody. This is Jeff Stanislaw, and it's time to go low. You're listening to Go Low. Let's Go Low here on AM 820 in Tampa and all over the world. If you guys want to check us out, go to golfersunite.com/radio. You can watch the previous episodes on YouTube. You can catch the stream link, so you can stream it from anywhere in the world. But right now, we're live from the Heights Country Club here in Tampa. It's a semi-private sim. We got great places, a pool table, card room, got lounges, and of course the featured Pro TVX simulator here. Great place. Search up the Heights Country Club if you're interested in joining or checking it out. We're hosting an event there. Again, Jeff Stanislaw. It's time to go low here. Brought to you by Golfers Unite, and our friend joining us is Ryan Quartz, and Ryan is with the Drive Box. Thanks for joining us today, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff.
So fantastic. Ryan, this whole show is about bringing different aspects of golf to the listeners. We have Mike Hicks running the caddy corner, talking about the players and instruction and all that stuff. We've had equipment people on from Garson Grips. We've had health and wellness fitness from Dr. Golf, and we've had so many different people on. So today we're going to talk with Ryan Quartz, and he's with Drive Box, and we're going to talk about the mobile sim market. So thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, again, thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about maybe your background. Like I'm assuming you're passionate about golf. You've seen the tremendous amount of growth with the simulator world. and then you mirrored it up with doing some mobility stuff. So tell us the background.
Yeah, so my background is actually I'm retired military. I retired out of Special Operations Command out of MacDill Air Force Base about 3 years ago.
Fantastic.
So did a 180 when I got out. I started actually a woodworking business, and then at the same time, my son was really getting into golf, and so that kind of creative aspect, we built a small ad hoc simulator on our lanai at home. We started hitting on it, have a good time, and before I knew it, friends were bringing their own clubs over. Instead of hanging out with us, they were hanging out on the sim. So that's when I started diving into the local market a little bit. Literally just started with a Google search for mobile golf simulator in Tampa, not to hire one, but to just learn about the industry.
Sure.
And at that same time, DriveBox was about a year or two into formation. They were founded in 2020 in San Francisco. And they had just opened up franchising in the fall of 23. And so I reached out, and within a couple weeks, I was on a flight to San Francisco and met the team out there, fell in love with the brand, the company, the culture, and everything that they were doing and bringing to local communities throughout the country. So jumped on board, and here we are about, say, 2 years, give or take, from that time frame, and going strong here in the Tampa and greater Tampa and West Florida market.
Fantastic. This is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to another episode of Let's Go Low here on AM 820. Today we are at the Heights Country Club in Seminole Heights, and we're talking with Ryan Quartz from DriveBox. And just kind of like, I was at the PGA show this year, Ryan, and you kind of look for trends of what's going on in the golf world. And I have to say, I was blown away by just the amount of space that the simulator world was taking from, manufacturers, equipment manufacturers, of the launch monitors to, screens to, there's a whole booth for just a flooring company that does the simulator floors. And there was some mobile companies there as well. But if you read between the lines, the golf sim industry is exploding, and you're in the business. Tell us a little bit about DriveBox and why you selected them to become a franchisee from them.
Yeah, I think the first thing was the culture that the company was kind of emulating and pushing out into the community. It was really about developing that community around that off-course golf aspect. So it was the intent was to not take away from what people are doing day in and day out, but give an alternative for other events, other activations beyond that golf course, actual on-course vibe.
Yeah. So a lot of it has to do with like the culture and who you want to work with. You get a chance. There's probably half dozen kind of mobile sim franchises that are there, and some are emerging, some are not. And there's obviously, on-site location sims and franchises. We're at the Heights, which is privately owned here in the Heights. So, tell us a little bit about the difference. Did you look into like doing a location with a sim versus a mobile sim? I mean, you were evaluating this, and first and foremost, thank you for your service.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. A veteran getting the work done here outside of protecting us here in our country. Ryan Quartz, DriveBox. So tell us a little bit about like your evaluation process on like building a sim or going mobile.
Yeah, so I looked at with my previous business in the woodworking space, I was looking at space requirements and getting actual commercial space available. So I knew some of the costs and requirements that go into that. And at that time, for me personally, it exceeded a little the capacity and capability that I had. And so then it was actually a very quick process when I looked into DriveBox. There weren't too many mobile options in the, definitely not in the franchise space. There are obviously several other companies and options out there, but the level of sophistication and technology that they've created as a company with the trailer and the design that they made, a fully enclosed climate controlled trailer that can come to you in any environment at any time, and you can still play and have the activity going on, is huge for events and event organizers. So that alone, and then it's a large unit, as tall as a semi-truck trailer.
Is it really that big?
Yeah, and 15 feet wide. So
wow.
It's as big, inside is as big as any commercial bay that you're going to go into. A 6'3" person can swing a driver inside.
What are the dimensions of the mobile sim with drive box that you're in? Like, what's the hitting area and what's the screen size?
Yeah, so the screen size is 13 foot
Wow.
wide. So in the interior is 13 feet wide, 10-foot ceilings from floor to ceiling.
That's big.
So it's as big as you need for any simulator space. And then the trailer itself is a little bit wider because the outriggers and everything that come with it. If for the RV community, it's basically a toy hauler on steroids, because the back opens up and that's our party deck.
Oh, there you go.
Parallel to the ground. The sides expand out. So the entire unit, when it's fully open, is 15 feet wide and 40 feet long. So
wow,
we require a little bit of a footprint. And honestly, that's usually the sticking point when it comes to events is getting in. But if we can get that in, then we'll get there. And we do offer for other spaces. We have an indoor unit that we can build in place as well. And that's just great for a lot of corporate events that are doing events at ballrooms and convention centers and things like that.
Perfect. Well, the golf world continues to grow. This is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to Let's Go Low here on AM 820, brought to you by Golfers Unite. If you want to be on the show or you want to check out this episode or others, go to golfersunite.com/radio, and that will be the landing area for all the things related to Golfers Unite and the Let's Go Low radio show. We're broadcasting live here today from the Heights Country Club in Seminole Heights. Semi-private sim, got pool table, got cards, got lounge areas, putting greens, and a Pro TVX simulator. So we appreciate, again, we're talking with Ryan Courts from DriveBox, a little bit different business model, and that's more the mobile sim world. But as we go and as we talk about the sim world, tell us what are some of the new technologies that are coming out. Obviously, bigger, better, faster, cheaper is coming in the door as other stuff comes in. But what powers the DriveBox simulator setup?
Yeah, so our primary unit is a TrackMan 4, obviously the premier tracking device in the golf simulator space. Main reason being is that we partner with a lot of PGA Tour events, so we're doing on-course activation. So our most recent was at Cognizant 2 weeks ago in Miami. For me personally, I was at Valspar last year off of hole 14 for the entire duration of the tournament. So we want to make sure that we're emulating what the professionals are using on course. And that's what's kind of demanding on our company to segregate and separate us from, what may be a little bit more on the casual side. But what I do see in the industry is that originally there was like only a very, very high end offering and then a very low end offering. But I think that delta is coming in a little bit closer to where there's more offerings and a lot more variety for the commercial user all the way down to the more casual user, to give those options and flexibility in what they may or may not need for their particular space and use case.
Fantastic. Ryan Courts, DriveBox. Jeff Stanislaw bringing you Let's Go Low here today, AM 820 in Tampa, brought to you by Golfers Unite. Ryan, if someone wanted to had some interest in hosting an event or bringing your mobile sim out, how do they reach you?
Yeah, so the best way is reaching out to us at DriveBox. That's DRYVEBOX.com. We have an inquiry form on there. When you put in your information for the Tampa or West Florida market, it'll get filtered to me directly, and you would hear from me within 24 hours, and we can work together to build that right package for your event and make something memorable for you and your guests.
And one more time on that.
That's drivebox.com, DRYVEBOX.com. And then we're also, of course, on social media. For here in the Tampa market, it's DriveBox, DRYVEBOX, Tampa, with, of course, the @ symbol in front for all of the major social media channels.
Fantastic. Jeff Stanislaw from Let's Go Low, talking with Ryan Courts from DriveBox. So Ryan, we're talking a little bit about simulators and what have you, and what's going on in the market. Yeah, everything was really high end. It would be not uncommon for someone to look at $100,000 to build out a sim, whether in a location or at their home. And today now there's a lot of different aspects. But if someone was interested in maybe getting their own home sim or working with you for an event or something like that, what are some of the things that you would recommend to them to check for specs? Like, I know some of them you have to have special balls, some of them you have different features. Like, I think, was it Foresight? They have a little unique niche in being able to offer TGL golf courses. But, if someone's just saying, hey, I want to get a simulator and I just want to put it in my garage and get started, what type of things they should be looking for?
Yeah, I think the very first thing is space availability. So the industry standard is 10-foot ceilings. You can get away with 9-foot, but then depending on your personal height, you may not be able to swing a driver in it. And then you can get away with as narrow as 10 feet, depending on how you position the ball as width. And then about 15 feet on the minimal end, and then anything bigger than that for the floor distance from screen to where you're hitting from, your hitting location. So I'd say making sure you have the space first, because of course with construction, if there's a big beam in the way, you're not swinging a club through the beam. After that, then I think you just have to look at your own personal desires on what you want to achieve or what you want to do with it. Is it strictly for entertainment? Are you looking for game improvement? Is it somewhere in between? And your overall competitiveness level? And then realistically, how much time are you looking to invest as far as like time on the simulator versus are you out on the course for 10 or 12 months out of the year? Well, then it may not be as it may be a little more cost prohibitive to invest in that higher end piece if you're not going to be using it more than once or twice a month. So I think you kind of evaluate all your own personal situation first, and then that's when you can
You gotta add the budget in too.
Exactly. and budget, of course. And I'll be honest, I built mine, and I wouldn't necessarily build mine for anybody else, just because it was kind of thrown together,
right?
With some very strategically placed curtains and nets and an impact screen. But I built mine for about $1,500.
Yeah.
And so you can get something put together, and it may work for you. But like you said, they can get up to $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 really quick when you start adding in all the highest end components that are available out there on the market.
Fantastic. And they all have different, like some of them use camera, some use like a radar or LiDAR type thing. And the data, depending on how it reads, you have so many people on the internet. My friend runs a channel called Triple Bogey, and he really dives into all the data, all these sims,
I'm familiar with
rigs. You're familiar with
Yeah.
trips? Okay, yeah. So he was out here. I had him at my club after the PGA show in January. So, but he is kind of one of those people that nerd out on it. But I think when you kind of look at what you got to do, you also got to look at the utilization, right? Do you need a simulator that can go indoor and outdoor with you? Because they make those now, right?
Yep.
Or do you really want all the cameras and capture all your whole club swing and impact swing, and you really want to do the game improvement? But if you just want to get your numbers, there's sims out there for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, fantastic. You've been listening to Ryan Quartz from DriveBox, and you guys want to check it out, just search up DriveBox and socials channels here in the Tampa area. It's at DriveBox Tampa. This is another episode of Let's Go Low, brought to you by Jeff Stanislow and powered by Golfers Unite, coming live from you at the Heights Country Club here in Tampa. Until next time, everybody, let's go low.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.